actions and the fight against terrorism, Bolivia wishes to express its most fervent support of the work of Mr. de Mistura and the process in Geneva, the Kazakhstan process, of course. They're both complementary. Another of the areas of convergence, and I hope this is not just talk, is that we have all mentioned the only option to resolve this conflict, which is through a political process. And it's for this reason that we call for the joint work of the involved parties to ensure that the peace process will be taken forward for and by the Syrian people based on a candid, inclusive, and constructive dialogue. We urge parties involved in the crisis to once and for all abandon any provocative action and to ensure that there is no further escalation in tensions in this crisis. We must continue the peace talks and they must seek to strengthen the mandates of this Security Council. This is a clear example that it is possible for us to take coordinated and unanimous action together. As we have said, we believe that any type of unilateral action would only undermine the dialogue process and block the way towards strengthening peace in Syria, and this would be at the expense of millions of lives in Syria. We hope that the Syrian government will continue to fight against terrorism, and we condemn any terrorist acts regardless of their reason, wherever they take place and by whomever committed. We reiterate the need to ensure that all states will combat terrorism in conformity with the UN Charter and the relevant international law rules. Once again, Bolivia calls on this council to make sure that in accordance with the United Nations Charter, we defend multilateralism. And of course, we must say that the opposite of multilateralism is unilateralism, and this can only undermine the dialogue process that is being taken forward by the Secretary General, Mr. de Mistura. And by the same token, it also prejudges the outcome. We call for an independent, impartial, comprehensive, and conclusive investigation of the chemical weapon attack. Of course, we do not understand the rationale that there is already condemnation and it's already said that an attack has taken place, and then following that, there is an investigation. I don't quite see the rationale in that attitude, unless this is the outcome of the intention of bringing some sort of pressure to bear on the Moscow talks taking place now between Russia and the United States. I fail to understand the intentions behind placing on the table a resolution that one already knows will be vetoed. We talked about Resolution 2254 that there's Council unanimously approved, and we believe that the Security Council, International Committee now, is calling on the 15 members of the Security Council to remain together and jointly work together for peace. Who are the ones benefiting from this war? Who are the ones benefiting from the fact that this Security Council is not working as one? The terrorists, first and foremost. My understanding is that we have an common enemy with a name: Daesh, Al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram. Those are our common enemies, and the international community is demanding that the Security Council act jointly, in unison and unanimously to fight this scourge. Who else benefits more from the peace process not being taken further forward and that we do not work unanimously? The military-industrial conflicts, those who benefit economically from this war, they are the ones who are receiving the greatest economic gains from this war, from this and other wars. I read an op-ed by Mr. Charles Blau in the New York Times, and he said that the war is also a business, a very lucrative business that pays dividends for many people. And I can only hope that the Security Council will shoulder its responsibility under the United Nations Charter, but not just the United Nations Charter, but also its responsibility to humanity to work together, that we free humanity from the nightmare of war, and that we do not, as a council, to a cul-de-sac from which we cannot extricate ourselves. Thank you.
I will now make my statement. Thank you to the representative of Bolivia. And I will now make my statement as the representative of the United States. Thank you very much, Mr. de Mistura, for your helpful and informative briefing today. We do appreciate your commitment in this process going forward.